Last Friday, I drove up to Philly to catch an art opening at the Gross McCleaf Gallery. I hadn't been with my friend, the artist David Brewster, since May of 2017, and looked forward to seeing him and his new work. A year and a half ago, I had spent a day filming David in both the horse country of rural Maryland and Baltimore City as he prepared for a show at the Maryland Historical Society.
The last show I had at Gross McCleaf was 4 years ago. It's great to be back in Philly today. A very different body of work. I'm really enjoying myself painting. I have no agenda. It was a winter and summer of just sheer experimentation after a 3-year project where I was interpreting heavy-duty social issues and a lot of figurative painting that required a lot of decision-making. And this body of work at Gross McCleaf is sheer entertainment for my eyes. I'm also taping out vast areas of the white ground, almost drawing with masking tape as a way to create a breathing foil for the busy, frenetic surface in the way that I move paint.
You wanted a selfie in front of your favorite picture. What makes this one the best?
Oh, the energy of it. Look at this. The waves are rolling over the ship. You see a figure there. You don't know what's going to happen to him or her. The sky is threatening. You see the floorboards of, and yet, is that really what it is? They're questions. They're questions. That's what I love about it, the energy.
I continue to be interested in the epic views of nature where man has impinged upon rivers and spillways across the Deerfield River.
Though David makes clear that he wanted a respite from the intense themes of social strife and environmental blight that he explored so relentlessly in his Maryland show, there are still shadows of that in this exhibition.
In January, I was very moved by photojournalism in the New York Times of some of the tragic bombings and killings of families in Syria. And so there's a portrait of a dad and his son. It followed an exhibit I saw in New York City of Edvard Munch. And I've always loved Edvard Munch and his powerful use of color, the distortion and exaggeration of drawing with reds and greens to describe realities of grief and sadness.
Another of David's paintings made me remember an old barn he took me to in rural Maryland. This one is called Stag Horns Through a Windshield. I asked Gross McCleaf's director, Sharon Ewing, to talk about this talented artist whom she has represented since 1992.
David Brewster is a painter who approaches his subject matter with passion. Using unconventional tools, often the side of his hand and commercial foam paint rollers, Brewster attacks the painting surface with a visceral intensity. Despite the energy of his mark making and his exuberant use of color, Brewster's attachment to observation is never lost. There is something distinctly American about David's painting, with the sense of journey and discovery. The artist is serious about the belief that painting can have a profound impact on how the viewer understands and relates to the physical and social world. But Brewster wants to have us experience the warnings and lessons through the mechanism of his painterly process, not through a narrative or didactic approach.
I really love David Brewster's work. I like the way you come up to it and it's just sort of a suggestion, but you know what he's trying to say, although it's from so many vantage points and it has a lot of energy to it. It's not still, it moves.
David, one thing I noticed watching people looking at your work, their arms start moving frenetically. I haven't seen that at other art shows. It's almost as if the energy of your work is being directly and physically transferred to the viewer. What do you think about that?
Wow, I think it's great if my work is getting people dancing. I can remember 20 years ago when I was painting on the streets of Philadelphia, one of the greatest compliments ever paid to me was this passerby came by and he stopped and looked at my work and they looked at me and said, "Man, I can hear it. I can hear it." There's no question about it. My work is about enormous movement. I would say that that's the primary subject matter of my work is movement.
By moving the paint, David creates work that is emotionally moving. He cares about people and about nature, and we can always feel love is embedded in his art. Way to go, my friend. This is another wonderful show.